Hello, everybody, and welcome to another tier list review inspired by good friend and fellow booktuber Murphy Napier, who put up a Harry Potter characters tier list. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, like she's gonna do a character tier list like I've done for the Wheel of Time characters. And then I thought about it. And I was like, oh my god, I haven't done this yet. How have I not done this yet? What is wrong with me? So, yes, now we are coming through and doing a Wheel of Time characters tier list. I've chosen, I believe, 24 characters, 23, some 20 amount of Wheel of Time characters to rank now for this bracket. I'm also making it more challenging for myself because I'm not allowing me to try and be like super critical and objective. I am going to rank them purely on personal preference. And to make it even more difficult, I'm going to be harsh. I'm forcing myself to rank these characters in a way that it will be a bell curve. I cannot throw all of them in A, and S, and B because they're Wheel of Time characters and I love them. No. I need to pick favorites, and I need to put some people I love lower down, admitting to myself I don't love them as much as the other. Don't love all my children equally. There's a clear honor student here. No, okay, all right. So let's just go ahead and jump on into this. You know how this works. I know how this works. And let's just pop on in. We're also going to keep this video mostly spoiler-free. I'm going to be as vague as I possibly can for these spoilers. So if you haven't finished the series, you can watch with some hesitation, but you can watch and, you know, I'll throw up a big spoiler tag if I end up saying something I feel like is a definite spoiler. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and kick this off with your boy Uno. Uno is a fairly minor character in the grand scheme of things in the Wheel of Time, but the interactions we do have with him, he certainly makes an impression. Brilliant fighter, gruff old feller, and one of the most hardcore gritty dudes the series has to offer. I feel like because of how minor he is, I cannot put him above B, or even really in B. I feel like Uno is going to have to go C. And for those of you unaware, S means like perfection, A means great, B means good, C means average, and D means bad. Average here, meaning for the Wheel of Time, I still think is good overall, but yes, I will say Uno falls in there, but he's probably going to be top of that because I still really like Uno. Next up, we have Galad. Galad, the good boy scout of Wheel of Time. So, a lot of people are going to put Galad very low. I don't. I like Galad. I've said this many times here in the channel. Galad for me is a character who, upon rereads, yeah, his philosophy is a bit annoying, but the guy walks the walk he talks, and he's not always wrong, and he does a lot of good. I really enjoy Galad for kind of being someone who practices what they preach to the most extreme extent. Also, he certainly has some killer badass moments here in the series. So for me, Galad's actually going to be the first B tier we have. In fact, I'm going to say he's probably going to be very high B tier because Galad, you know, he's got the whole dreamy boy thing about him, which makes the girls swoon. Why did I mention that? Why was that relevant at all? Because it's repeated about him 500 million times in the series, so I guess I just felt the need to include it. But I really do enjoy his arc as well. I think he grows and develops and becomes more grounded in the world towards the end of his arc, while not sacrificing much of his core beliefs. Now we have who is debatably, and I would likely agree with if you said this, the most underrated character Wheel of Time has to offer, and that is Logain. Logain, I love this guy. I think he is so underappreciated, especially for people who only read the series the first time. If you go back and really pay attention to his scenes in your second and third time through the Wheel of Time, you'll begin to understand just how nuanced his development is, how much he means for the series, and how he's a reflection of what a certain character could have been very easily. So for me, Logain, do I want to put him in A, limiting how many people in the future I can put in A, because I really do like his arc and the emotional beats, especially we hit with him. Yeah, I'm going to put Logain in A. I'm putting him up that high because I love the guy. I really do. Aviendha. Aviendha suffers a lot from lack of representation in the series. I want more POV Aviendha chapters. I'm constantly wanting more from her because I find her so interesting. She's such a great introduction to the Aiel beyond just a surface cultural value, like getting to know a member of the Aiel. Aviendha serves that purpose beautifully. I mean, she is one of the best gateways to that culture. On top of that, she, is so chock full of personality. She's a really good person and a lot more powerful than a lot of people realize. But due to the lack of screen time, there's no way I can put her in A. I would love to, but, I need more POV from her for me to justify going A. Granted, we do have more from her than we do Logain, but I kind of just want to represent Logain really hard, dude who is like underappreciation. Maybe cause some people to go back and look at him a little bit. But man, do I really want to relegate her to B? I enjoy her so much. Gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna put her top of B, and she's gonna smidge out Galad. I hate how harsh I'm having to be. Ugh! All right, I have to address the bell curve. We already have a bit of a bell curve. I'm doing my job here, okay? Taim. Wow, no, Tam. Rand's father. A very good man. I mean, that's basically what you can describe Tam as. He is a good man. He does have a lot of brilliant moments. He's one of these characters who will just drop a line of dialogue that gets you in the heart big time, and he also serves an amazing purpose for Rand throughout the series in terms of a role model and just being able to impact Rand emotionally. But again, a lack of page time really prevents him from possibly being A or B, and he doesn't have a whole lot of an arc. And what's appealing about him is really like the mystery of Tam, because there's so many unanswered questions about how he came to be what he is and exactly the details of his journey. We know broad strokes, we don't know like the day by day, obviously. People always talk about like spin-off novels for the series, like wanting to follow X, Y, and Z. If I were going to get a spin-off novel, I would want one just focusing on Tam's life. But I'm going to also relegate him down to top of C for now, because I can't justify him being higher than that with the lack of time he has on the page. This hurts. I'm in pain. All right, moving on. Gareth Bryn. Gareth Bryn is fine for me. I think he's cool. Doesn't develop a whole lot. He's got a decent personality, but I think he's going to be my first D-list entry. And don't get me wrong, I still like the man. I still like him quite a bit. But there's no way I can justify him being higher than that with just the lack of style, lack of swag that he doesn't have that a lot of other characters do. For me, subjective list. Elayne. A lot of people are going to relegate her to D. I don't feel that way exactly. I am feeling more of a strong C to a light B. I'm going to go ahead and put her above these two here for the C tier. There are people who wish you could just drop certain points of her arc and plot lines altogether. I don't necessarily agree with those. I like Elayne as a character overall. I'll admit that while her character is great, her story definitely has moments that maybe they could change up a bit for the show to make more appealing. I still classify her, especially with the amount of screen time she gets, above with these guys in my overall enjoyment and attachment. Faile, man, do I really want to put her this low? The hate on her is overly blown up a lot. Like, people hate on Faile as a character far too much. Especially once you really understand like how her relationship with the one she's in a relationship with, keeping this spoiler free, as just an example of like the cultural clashing that Robert Jordan loved exploring in his series, I think it becomes a lot more appealing. That being said, yeah, there's no way I'm putting her above a lot of these guys, but I will definitely put her above Gareth Bryn. No offense to Gareth Bryn, I like your character, you're dope, especially a couple of the relationships you have, but I don't know, Gareth Bryn as a character for me just doesn't have like the spicy spice that a lot of characters have to draw me in. Lanfear, one of the best villains the Wheel of Time has to offer. Absolutely excellent character here, and one who really is a gateway to the past in a way I really enjoy. I love how much Lanfear, if you really listen to what she's saying and you dive into her background, it tells you so much about how the corruptions began, and how people could go to the way she went. So I'm going to put her... Oh wow, I just realized I don't have Moradin on here. That was an oversight. Moradin would be S tier. Anyway, I think I'm going to put Lanfear the bottom of A for now. And that's not really entirely based off who she is as a character. I like who she is as a character, especially the manipulations she's pulling off earlier on. But it's also the purpose she serves, because there is a lot of weight on this character's shoulders. Same with a lot of the Forsaken, but I think more so Lanfear than a lot of them. In terms of kind of really bringing in the broad strokes history of the Wheel of Time. Like, the Forsaken act as a venue to understand just how technologically advanced this world used to be, just what was lost in the breaking, and Lanfear serves that purpose quite well. And she's full of personality, is not like the typical tropey kind of version of her character she could have been. There's a lot more depth and nuance to her than before, and especially that way her arc in parallel to her main, you know what I'm talking about, obsession comes to a close. That closing really has an emotional gut punch that I feel like was needed. Tuon could take or leave. I'm just not the biggest fan of Tuon. I've made this clear. Just disdain her, and that's actually a praise for how well her character is written, right? It's like kind of the Umbridge effect, except not nearly that extreme. Tuon you can like. I just very much so don't, because she's advocating for slavery and things like that. So if we're going off of like my own love of the character, which we are here in a lot of ways, yeah, I can't say I really dig her that much. She belongs to be relegated to the hey, shame for what the Sean Chan do to people. Don't like her for that. Loial. Oh, I love you, Loial. You're a beautiful, sweet creature child. I think he's going to go top of A, and no one's really going to be super upset about that. At least I hope not, because Loial is stupendous, spectacular, beautiful, sweet summer child. I love him dearly, so much. He's great. And the people who advocate that we need to remove the Ogier from the show because their plot lines can easily be removed and they don't add too much, you're technically not wrong, but in terms of what makes the Wheel of Time and things that are special about it, you are absolutely wrong, and we cannot remove the Ogier. They are magnificent. Min. Min for me is going to go top of B. Now, while Min is a wonderfully realized character, and within the narrative, she is so crucial so many times, I just don't feel like her development is necessarily on the level of many others. The lens with her isn't very much so as we're going to develop this character a ton. It's more for me we're going to use this already kind of more mature, more established character as a way to explore other avenues of this events, like a perspective of someone who's not super powerful, witnessing what's going on. She kind of provides that, and her additional little alternative magical power that she has, I find to be very interesting, and also raise her above a lot of the rest. I think Min is a really, really well done character, but I'm having to be harsh, and A already has people in it that there are a lot of people there, so I need to be careful. I need to not have so many people in A. Egwene. A lot of people, man, talk about a divisive character, right? Some people are going to put Egwene as low as D, and others are going to hold her up into S. I know Egwene's storyline has moments where she is so frustrating that it becomes a problem. She also has some serious, not Mary Sue, but unbelievable levels of just how did you get to the point you're here kind of things. But overall, she's so interesting. She's so fun to go back and look at where she goes and understand how she gets there. And she's also probably, in terms of intelligence, one of the most underappreciated characters. She is smart. Like when it comes to judging people and understanding different cultures, understanding how to work the system, Egwene is really, really next level. I appreciate about her so much. She is a smart cookie who knows how to get in people's heads, and she displays that early on in the series. Like if you go back and watch for it, Egwene is all about for being honest, like manipulation a little bit. She gets to know you, and then she knows how to say what she needs to say, and that's an underappreciated characteristic, I feel like. But for Egwene, I think I'm gonna go above. Yeah, I'm gonna go top of A for now, just because she is one of our real central characters who develops a ridiculous amount. And while her story does have its weaker moments, I still find it to be one of the best overall arcs of the Wheel of Time. And she's one who, in my first couple of reads of the Wheel of Time, I really didn't like, but I began to appreciate how she exemplified some of the best aspects of Robert Jordan's writing later on. And I think she definitely embodies that for sure. Siuan Sanche. Girl, I love you for so many reasons, but there's no way I can justify putting you very, very high, because I just don't have that strong of a connection to you, and you just don't have as much screen time as a lot of these other people. Logain, in terms of screen time, is so far above other people who have a similar amount of screen time as him. But I can justify that with just how much. There's so many moments with Logain that, like, his perspective, and you watching him being in these mental places, you understand how easily that could be someone else, and how much strength he must have to still be where he is. I don't know. We're not going to get into that right now. Swan for me, probably just below Galad, if I'm being perfectly honest. She's going to go right here for now, and she's so full of just a great character, right? Like, she is, when you meet her, you know who she is. She's presented so cleanly, and she's so vivid in her like just being that you understand her almost instantly. So for me, that's going to definitely earn her this in the crowd of some of the best of the best. Taim. I really can't talk about him without getting into spoilers, right? But man, talk about presence. This guy reeks of what he is. And I like him a lot. I'm going to put him just below Swan. I can't talk about him without getting super into spoilers, so I'm just going to put him right below Swan, and we'll continue the conversation another time. I'll probably jump into the spoilers Wheel of Time section of my Discord channel here and discuss these rankings with people with full spoiler thoughts there. Gawain. Yep. You get too much hate, but there are just some moments with Gawain, man, where when it comes to my personal liking, down. bottom. I still think he's well written. I still think the actor who could play this character could have a lot of fun with it and do choices to make Gawain really an interesting person to watch. But in terms of my personal liking for him as a character, he's someone that the fan base loves to hate, but not in like a, oh, he's a villain way, just in like a, dude, shut up. Hey. All right, Moiraine, dropping in the S tier, no question. Don't need to even justify it. Moiraine is a badass, and she's going S tier for sure. Padan Fain. Oh, man, talk about potential and justifiable placement all over the place. You could put him all kinds of places for all kinds of reasons, and I'm just going to say, due to the fact that I felt so unsatisfied with his ending after so much buildup, I'm going to place him, man, bottom of C, because this is actually something where in the show, I hope they change it. I hope they rewrite how his character ends, because after so much build-up in the books, without getting into spoilers, I found the resolution to Fain, and a lot of the fans agree with this is a very popular point to make, to be unsatisfying. Even Brandon Sanderson has said in multiple interviews and instances that he wishes he had written this differently, or it had been handled differently. I don't know if this is something that's in Jordan's notes. I don't think so. I think this is all Brandon. But yeah, it should have been handled in a different fashion, if we're being honest there. And if the resolution of a character is so debatable that a lot of fans agree with the mentality of just change it, yeah. That's why it goes kind of low there. But he does have a lot of presence earlier on in the series. He sets up so many lore aspects, and he's so dangerous, and he's so gross on the page that I have to give appreciation for that to keep him out of D tier. Matt, my boy. Do I want to put Matt above or below Moiraine? Oh, man, this is a decision. Oh, God. All right, Matt, above or below Moiraine? I think above, and I can't get into it because of spoilers, but there's a reason Matt is such a strong fan favorite, and Moiraine, can't say anything because of spoilers, but, you know, she's not as present for a while, and so yes, I'm going to put Matt above her, but God, I love them both so much as characters. All right, Perrin I'm actually putting below both. There's frustrations with points of his arc, and frustrations with his refusal to consciously grow as a character at times for a while, that I just don't love him as like a sweet summer child, as for some reason I'm a fan of saying here on the channel, as much as the rest. Nynaeve. I love Nynaeve so much. She has one of the best realized personalities of anyone in the Wheel of Time. Her arc is magnificently well handled, and she is just so outstanding to watch grow and change. And rereading the series, Nynaeve is one of the best characters to watch, because once you understand her motivations so much better at the end of the series, watching her at the beginning, it's like a scientific case study of just how someone can grow, evolve, while not changing as a person in like a fundamental way. They just like almost Pokemon evolution evolve into their final form, and that's like Nynaeve's brilliance. I think I'm just going to put her at the very tippy top of A. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just make people frustrated and feel controversy here. Stand by that. I stand by that. I love all these characters, guys. Don't get me wrong. I think they're some of the best fantasy has to offer, period. But for me, upon rereading the series, where I am as a fan now, I find myself vastly more interested in Nynaeve than Perrin. You'd fight me all day about it. All right, moving on to Lan. Lan, it's funny, outside of the Wheel of Time, if you're not talking to die-hard fans, you're talking to general fantasy fans who like the Wheel of Time, Lan is one of the characters who make the strongest impact on them. People across the board love Lan. He is probably the most unanimously favorite character of the Wheel of Time. To die-hard fans, to casual fans. People love this boy, and there is a very firm reason as to why so. While he is a very well-established character, like you actually meet him as like veteran status later on in his life, he still has an incredible arc. He still evolves, grows, changes, you come to understand him. He goes through so much. Love him, and he goes right there at A, for sure right there. I will stand by that. And now we have Rand al'Thor. So for me, I mean, he goes from farm boy to in a very, very believable fashion, and that is one of the greatest character arcs I've ever seen. One of the common accusations you'll see leveled against Rand is Mary sued him, and I hardcore disagree. He accidentally murders people he shouldn't, he loses limbs, he constantly fails, murders an entire army of people on his own side by accident, trains like a madman, makes mistakes. If you are calling Rand a Mary Sue, you do not understand the definition of Mary Sue. Because Mary Sue is not about being powerful. Mary Sue is about being powerful without earning it. Rand earns every ounce of the power he gains, painstakingly, brutally, and such a mental toll is taken on this guy. I will never understand the people who make the case Rand is a Mary Sue. And I think he is the true example of a character who can go from the bottom to the very top of power in an extraordinarily believable and well-earned way. And for that reason, he's obviously the top of S. Now we need to go over this and see if I need to change anything here, really, spot edit in any way, shape, or form. I think the biggest change I'm going to make right here, I kind of regretted it as soon as I really consciously looked at it, is putting Lanfear in A. I don't love her as much as I do these other A tier characters here. I'll definitely put her at the top of B and actually put Min. Actually, no, I'm going to put Min right above her, and Min have the top of B, while Lanfear is right there. And so, anything else I want to swap around? No, I'm pretty confident in this. There's going to obviously be harsh reactions, and if you ask me tomorrow, I might have this list looking quite different. But I stand by a lot of these. I don't think this is a horrible ranking in any way, shape, or form. Probably the one that's going to make people the most angry is Perrin, because I know there's a lot of diehard Perrin fans. I'm just very frustrated with him at times, and if I'm putting this list out of my love of character, I'd be lying to you to say that I have as strong a love for Perrin as I do a lot of these other guys. Although I'm weirdly it's funny, if I did this tier list, as in which ones I'm most excited to see brought to the screen, it would actually be quite different. S tier would probably look the same, but a lot of the Bs would be up in the A's, and a couple of the A's would be a little lower. It'd be really different, because there's just certain characters who are so alternative to the way I think they need to be acted and embodied that I'm very curious to see how they be brought to life, and therefore they'd be brought up. But anyway, that was a weird tangent. Let me know what you guys think of this tier list, and put your own in the comments down below. I'll also have a link to this tier list in the description if you'd like to fill it out yourself. Go ahead and post it to Twitter. Go ahead and at me. I love looking at you guys' interpretations of this. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace! And of course, I'd like to record a special shout out to my 2 latest high tier Patreons, Sarah Thomas and Tyler Asire. Dude, that is a good name. That is in a fantasy book badass name. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great one. See you.